your discretion.
Good morning. Smoking scam? What's the scam here? These shootings. That's the scam, shootings. Shooting people because of their mental health. Now the problem I find offensive is that, under case number 0950529-2011, United States versus Pasadena, the term shoot the nig country is the reason why we shoot people that are disabled. Because this fucking country is fucked. We're tired of hearing of people being shot over this fucking crisis we've developed in America. This fucking country. There we go. And I don't have to speak out loud, Mr. Carlos. Did you get the case number, Foo? 0950529, Bagdasarian versus United States. Isn't that a threat? Not. But the threat that I'm testifying about is whether or not the factual idea of cadets in these programs are being fucked by cops. Who's supervising these children with cops? Because we know for a fact the Pope is dead and he's going to hell. And we definitely know it's not off topic. We're talking about death.
You're off topic.
It may seem morbid to you, but I'm talking about the death of the Pope.
You're off topic.
And how he prays for our LAPD officers not to end up in the same situation. So you see, in Snyder versus Phelps, I'm talking about...
Move on.
Alright, I'll move on. Look at this fucking donation here. Why aren't the fucking donations posted for the public to read where it's coming from? Because I know Russia's getting money from developers and those goddamn oil refinery people. Where's the money going? That's the reason why we lost 400 LAPD to that fucked up budget. That fucked up budget by the fucked up mayor, by the fucking assholes in Sacramento. Am I a fucking topic?
No.
Good.
You're repetitive now.
That's right. Because I have a right to be repetitive. I have mental health problems like you, Carlos. 42 USC 1983 politely. Fuck you.
Jonathan Fox Zoom, we have Jojo.
Oh, good. You got on.
Hi, this is somebody that's very concerned about how you're in bed with the cult of Scientology. I'm very concerned that you overpass the people that are protesting this cult, and you favor the cult that is harboring criminals, allowing child trafficking to occur. This is all over the news. This is not a hate crime, because as a Jew, I must tell you that we just had Holocaust Remembrance Day, and we speak up for the victims. And it's not a hate crime, because they're doing the very hateful things inside that was done to the Jews during the Holocaust. How can you stand by there? Because all of you, once this cult goes down, maybe you will be in a Simon Wiesenthal kind of center that you have in Los Angeles, but instead it will be a Scientology survivor memorial museum, and all of your faces will be on there because you allowed the help sign to be overpassed when people were calling in. You allowed those 2 children not to be rescued from whatever atrocity is going on in there. This is well documented. For you to deny that this cult is committing atrocities is very much like you saying the Holocaust never occurred. How can you live with yourself in bed with a child trafficking cult? It's disgraceful. We speak out for victims because we are their advocates. Look at the case in Waterbury, Connecticut that's going on. The child that was 11 years old held 20 years in his house by the stepmother. He had to set a fire to let himself be free. Her name was Kimberly Sullivan. How many Kimberly Sullivans are in the cult right now, holding kids captive, locked in rooms? This is well documented. wake up and stand up with the protesters that are trying to wake you guys up. You are in bed with child traffickers. You are complicit. You are taking money from them. I bet if we did an audit and find you having a lot of money lying in your pockets, how can you live with yourself? I just don't get it. I just cannot understand what's going on in your head, that you can go home and you can sit down at your table and you can Google all this stuff about Scientology, which is well documented, that it's a child trafficking cult full of abuse and taking advantage of people and not giving them proper medical treatment. And how can you do that? I just don't know how you can do that. Bye.
Great job, Amy.
Yeah.
Great job.
So if I heard this correctly, Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon, you were praising the chief for a critical incident video. Something that is required by policy. Now, he does his little Hollywood edit to it, right? I would prefer he just release a body-worn video as is and treat us like adults and let us make up our minds, but he produces those videos because he thinks there are some idiots that will fall for it. You fit the bill. As for you, Vice President, you mentioned that you were troubled by the 403 civilian personnel that are being laid off. You know how many actual street cops are being laid off? How many cops are being laid off? 0. 403 civilian personnel are being laid off. Why? Because they are not represented by the LAPPL. That's why. But it's a scam because now, like he said, he's going to take uniform officers and have them do that job at time and a half as overtime. We're not saving any money off of it. They're making bank, the LAPPL. Now, like I said, LAPPL runs them, and they actually run the mayor too. The whole reason why this new budget is structured that way is because she took our money, $1 billion of our dollars, and paid the LAPPL for an endorsement, and that's a fact. And then she told this guy, because LAPPL wants it, that he needs to go easy on cops and improve morale. So he has these working groups right now that are made up of 10 people, 5 of them LAPPL directors, who are going into command staff and kicking out certain command staff. From my understanding, you can hear it from me first, we are in the process of having a vote of no confidence by command staff against Barney Rubble right here. I saw you out yesterday at the budget meeting. I noticed that you were sitting next to Craig Lally, the president. He wasn't sitting next to you, you were sitting next to him. Because that is the order. He runs you. And like I've been told by many people, the LAPPL is in your office on a regular basis, overthrowing all types of complaints. All of them. Yeah, you can shake your head, but it's the truth. He runs your ass. The LAPPL runs your ass. Just like they run the mayor. I was talking about Ralph Campos last week, who was the LAPPL director. I was talking about his business. He's got another business, 911 Entertainment. His business partner over there, you guys gave a commendation to not so long ago, a SWAT officer, when he was in Rampart Crash, who kidnapped the kid and took him to a rival gang area, dropped him off, and he was killed. And then he hid it for 5 years. And now he works on the fucking SWAT team?
Jesus.
You guys are disgusting.
Embarrassing.
Okay.
Over Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Hi, yes. What
Can you hear me?
What items did you like to speak on?
Oh,
3 minutes?
Sorry, guys.
I'm here to speak about something that has festered in the heart of Los Angeles for far too long. The unchecked criminal behavior of the cult of Scientology. Let's be clear. If any other organization in the city were accused of child abuse, elderly abuse, human trafficking, and forced labor, there would be raids, arrests, and investigations. But when it comes to Scientology, silence, inaction, protection. Why is that? There are credible, documented allegations from countless survivors. Children forced to work long hours, denied education, and subjected to physical, psychological, and sexual abuse. Elderly members isolated and exploited. People trafficked, forced, and trapped. all under the guise of religion. This is not freedom of religion. This is organized crime hiding behind tax exemption and celebrity status. And where is the LAPD in all of this? We've heard reports of cases ignored, victims dismissed, and conflicts of interest. It raises one disturbing question. Is LAPD protecting the public or protecting Scientology? Enough is enough. You are sworn to serve and protect. That means investigating every credible report of abuse, regardless of who the accused are or how much money and power they hold. That means transparency, not complicity. I'm demanding that this commission takes action to open independent investigations into every abuse claim tied to Scientology. Audit LAPD's past handling of these cases. Hold your officers accountable for any failures or misconduct. And most importantly, protect the victims, not the abusers. This city should not be a safe haven for criminals simply because they wear a religious mask. You owe the victims of Scientology more than silence. You owe them justice. Just to name a few: LARA Anderson, Rosemary Chitwock, Serge Delmar, Balazs Bocani, Miriam Francis, Nora Ames, Liz Ferris, Zaina Pamela, Natalie Webster, Jenna Miscavige, Amber Burness, Mike Brown, and hundreds of others. Thank you.
Great job, Miriam. Awesome job.
LA?
Good morning. I want all topics. Hope you can hear me. On Easter Sunday, April 20th, Scientology held a street closure on L. Ron Hubbard Way. The permit authorized closure for vehicles only, not pedestrians. But when I arrived, I was illegally stopped by armed Scientology guards and third-party guards. Every one of them was armed. All but two wore identifying patches. They blocked me from the public sidewalk and falsely claimed I couldn't pass. This wasn't a misunderstanding. I was targeted because I am a known advocate exposing Scientology's abuses, and this makes this viewpoint-based discrimination. That makes it prior restraint. And because it happened on a public sidewalk under a city-issued permit enforced by private guards acting under color of law, it was a direct violation of my First Amendment rights. I called LAPD. Officers responded. They read the permit. They confirmed I was right. And they did. Personally, they escorted me through the area and told them to stop. I want to commend those officers because they did their job. Unlike most in the past, they haven't. They upheld their oath, and they should be recognized for that. But, okay, but the second that they left, they continued to do it. Okay, they continued to prevent other people. All right. All right, and this isn't an isolated incident. It happens at every event they hold, and LAPD knows it. Complaints have been submitted since May of last year, and nothing seems to change. This commission knows what's happening, and that includes Commissioner Errol Southers, who also serves as a state-level civil rights leader. You know what prior restraint is. You know what viewpoint suppression is. And you know that public sidewalks are protected forums. If an organization can use public permits to build a perimeter of armed guards and block critics and advocates from public land, then the Constitution has no meaning in this city. LAPD is responsible for enforcing permit terms. LAPD coordinates with Public Works. LAPD has jurisdiction over private security in public space. LAPD has a duty to refer unlicensed or unlawful guards to BSIS. And LAPD has the authority to stop this pattern of abuse. What happened to me wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a civil rights violation at the source. It was prior restraint, viewpoint suppression, and it was enforced by armed private security acting like law enforcement under LAPD's watch. If LAPD doesn't act, if you don't start recommending permit denials, investigating security violations, and protecting the public's right to exist in public space, you're not neutral, you're complicit. And I'm asking you to do something about it. I did file a complaint, but I also want to you to know that we have a victim here of Scientology. You had a victim a couple weeks ago come. You have victims coming to tell you the hell they've been through. And that's why we advocate, okay? And that fact that Scientology could be told by LAPD to open up that sidewalk, they didn't have a right to do it. And as soon as LAPD left, they went right back to do what they want to do because they feel they are in charge. Make it stop.
Yeah.
Thanks.
My name is Susan Rocha, and actually that same thing has happened to me before too, because I've been out there while they're having their fairs, and the security guards are very harassing. They follow you, they walk behind you, and it's very intimidating that you don't know what's going to happen. You're not free just to walk freely, and they have street closures all the time where they're not supposed to be having them.
Oh, thank you guys.
And they block off the streets when they're not supposed to, and that's not right. We have a right to be on the sidewalk, but yet their security guards will follow you around while you're walking down their street, doing absolutely nothing. So I've been in that situation.
Thank you.
When they have their little fairs, people have the right to be on the street to look at their, whatever they're giving away, their little fair thing. You have a right to be there, but that's not the way they act. They follow you, they watch you, they talk to you, they tell you you can't be there. I've been there. That's happened to me. And I support First Amendment. The reason why I support First Amendment is because I protest Divine Savior Catholic Church and their noisy sound system. And Mr. McDowell, you still haven't talked to Priest Albert over at Divine Savior. I lived in my home before they installed their full bullhorns and their tape recordings that blasted my house all day long. This church does not give a damn about anybody else but their own self. They prosecuted me in court 2 times. 2 times they've lost. Are you listening here, Carlos? Your prosecutor, Gabriela Taylor, prosecuted me with no evidence. 3 witnesses, including the priest Albert, Pragasam, who never saw anything, but they prosecute anyways. Okay, I fought him. I went to jury trial and I fought his ass. I was found not guilty. 12 people believe me and not Priest Albert and his lying church. That's really disgusting. Awesome. That's really sick for something that never happened, that they would try to put me in jail. Oh, but three men carried me out of the church that they never produced because it never happened, and a bunch of other lies. And I give kudos to my senior lead officer, Luis Reyes, over at Northeast, who's always supported me, who never talked about it.
I appreciate that.
Who did the right thing in court. You know what? LAPD was good to me. It's a stick of prosecutors that prosecute because they're kudos with the Catholic Church. They don't give a damn if you're innocent. They'll prosecute just to shut you up. And that's what they tried to do to me. And I'm asking you to still talk to Divine Savior, tell them to turn off their goddamn bullhorns.
Yes, amen.
Nobody said
your
there's
time's
no
up.
services going on. There's nothing going on. I'm asking you to talk to Priest Albert. Because
This is your
they don't
first
listen.
warning,
They don't listen. They don't
and
care.
you will be asked to leave. Thank you.
That's ridiculous. I do. Thank you. That was awesome. And it's just horrible that they do
You know
that
what?
to you.
I've been up there where they had their fairs, and they walk
Ma'am, your
behind
time
you,
is
too.
up. Please let the others speak. Call items.
You need to have night meetings, because you know what? Some people, we work.
Okay,
I can't
ma'am,
get
you're,
it.
you're not gonna be asked to leave.
Hell yeah.
She's right, man.
You know, what about working people? You should have night meetings.
Ma'am, your time's up. Next speaker, please.
Next, we have Defender of Ants.
Bye.
Good evening. Last time I was here, I filed a report with Inspector General. Within 2 hours, I was handcuffed in the back of an LAPD squad car, Northeast Division. Had me at gunpoint for over an hour. That's about the 11th time I've been at gunpoint. I got some new jewelry here. Thank you. 7 felonies you guys charged me with. The 16 misdemeanors out of Northeast Division wasn't enough. You went with 7 more felonies. hate crime, talking about child abuse in the Church of Scientology is not a fucking hate crime, you morons. It's not a hate crime. Saying the church is a cult of Scientology that we can help is not a hate crime. It's not a felony. Putting up a poster that there's missing children is not a hate crime. Not in any fucking world. Not in any world. I'm gonna beat all these fucking charges. I'm gonna beat every single one of them. Because Scientologists can't testify. Who's the DA working with? Kendrick Moxon. Unindicted co-conspirator. The largest takeover of the US government. Kendrick Moxon. He lied. They stopped me on the sidewalk. Armed guards stopped me on that sidewalk. Guess what the judge said? The judge said I had a right to fucking be there. You have Audit LAs, they're stopping. Armed guards are stopping people from accessing the thing. You could go there if you want to just join the fucking cult. But I'm gonna tell you, what are they doing there? What is the actual fucking child abuse? It's auditing. Children, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old children. Jim, this is what they do in that church. Have you ever had your butthole licked, Jim? How often do you masturbate, Jim? What? Yeah. That's what they're doing in that building. You want to talk about ICE? What the fuck is wrong with you? They're children are asking grown men how often they masturbate. Teresa, fair enough. It's disgusting. I've been at gunpoint 10 times. Thank you for giving me back both of my fucking phones. You figured out I wasn't the fucking swatter. Was it because Homeland Security got involved with the crime? They took Gomez off from Northeast Division. You have Officer Rand from Hollywood Division saying that I'm selling narcotics and having guns to San Francisco. Hollywood didn't even take the police report. They never took the police report of the complaint on Officer Rand.
Great job.
LARA Anderson?
Yes. There we go. Good job. You got this. Yes.
Hi, my name is LARA Anderson. I have a little PTSD always talking about the subject of the cult of Scientology. I specifically looked a few of your guys' names up. I've seen you, Rasha, you were, here I actually still have your thing up. Rasha, you were a former federal prosecutor with more than 20 years of first chair trial and appellate experience. The cult of Scientology, one of the things we did when I was about 8 years old, I was clapping extremely intensely with a bunch of other children in the cult to the leader saying the war is over. And that was because they had bullied, you can call it bullied, but they infiltrated the IRS and they used people like my Social Securities, members of the cult that had no idea their name and their information was being used to infiltrate the IRS, infiltrate by individually putting each person, myself, their name as a lawsuit. That took too much money, took too much time. The IRS couldn't fucking deal with Scientology doing this anymore. They made a deal. They gave the cult tax-free exempt status. That doesn't make them a religion. They're not a church. I was born and raised in this. I was doing, Jim, I was the auditor as a 13-year-old ethics MAA, auditing public outside members that were Scientologists that are part of the LAP, part of Clearwater PD, part of the authority that allows people and Scientology to continue doing what they're doing. We're not allowed to report crimes to the outside. That is policy. If they do, we get in trouble. We go to jail. There's their own justice system in Scientology. It's hard for you guys to see that because they used the government structure to look like Scientology is just like you, but not. They used it so they could infiltrate. I did this. We did this as children, not knowing what the fucking outside world was. We didn't know that we had people we could go to. Okay? We were molested, we were raped, we were used fucking every day, 15-hour days, slaving away our whole childhood. We signed billion-year contracts. We children were shredding documents from Lisa McPherson case. Kendrick Moxon is putting all the protesters against Scientology in jail right now because they choose to protect people like me. I'm a rock star, I have a voice now, so if it's shaky, I'm sorry, but this is PTSD. We need your help. Break your ties financially with Scientology. Break them. Stop receiving any more checks.
Thank you.
Stop receiving checks from the city.
Ma'am, your time is up.
Do you hear me?
Ma'am, your time is up.
Did you hear me?
Did you hear her?
Speaker.
Did you hear her?
Answer that.
Did you hear her?
Sir.
Did you hear her?
Ma'am, your times are
Yeah, go
up.
fuck yourself.
I'm done talking.
Shut the fuck up,
Next
loser.
speaker.
Do you hear what the fuck she said? How often do they ask you about masturbation?
Operation Snow White. Do the research. It's a 10-minute fucking research.
And we've exceeded our time, and I think we've taken everyone in the room. Let's take one more Zoom before we conclude.
Take all of them.
Yes, right?
She's got like 15 minutes.
Yes, hi, good morning. I want to speak on a couple of things. First, I'll start off with the MEU program. Back in July 2015, your own officer, Ted Simola, said, quote, "The MEU program is going to put us all out of work in a good way." Now, why would he say that? It's because, by and large, the MEU program has, in fact, successfully resolved issues, whereas people were in mental crisis, made it out alive because they have competent psychiatrists, not gun, trigger-happy LAPD officers ready to kill somebody in a 5150 mental health crisis. Since the inception of the program, the MEU program has actually dwindled down to about now, public records say roughly 16 to 17. I witnessed personally in October 2024, CD13 Hugo Soto Martinez deliberately choose to defund the MEU program by cutting out approximately $250,000 and instead allocating it to just overtime. Just regular overtime, totally unannounced as to what exact the work of the overtime would be, but just LAPD overtime. Cut it out from the DMH, cut it out from the MEU program, and allocate it just straight to overtime. And that's because, of course, the LAPD is run by the PPO. You guys are union simps. What they say goes, they own the city. But that's not the worst of it. Back in May 7, 2024, a black man wielding a machete with his genitals out was actively harassing a minor on Fountain Avenue at the Scientology location. Officers were called, a video was shown to the responding officers who were from Northeast, and they literally said, and I even have from an inside source, the recording of why the city attorney as well as the LAPD decided not to arrest the man, despite committing indecent exposure and sexually harassing a minor. They said, well, it's because he had his junk out and was jacking off next to a tree while actively threatening to kill them with a machete, therefore it didn't count. So I asked this board, if any of you were to have any of your significant others or children actively sexually harassed by a Scientology agent with their junk out and threatening to be killed by machete, if they do it next to a tree, would that be all right by you? That they don't get prosecuted? If they get sexually harassed, as long as Scientology does it, and as long as they're next to a tree, is that all right by you? That guy's property was seized behind a Scientology-owned property in a private gate. The only way they could have gotten there is if they were escorted to that area. Only if they were escorted personally by a Scientology security guard to that area. There's undeniable proof that guy was a Scientology agent. He sexually harassed a minor repeatedly. It's not the only.
Okay, that concludes the public comment on the agenda. Moving on to item number 3 on the agenda. I'm going to pull items 3A and 3B. Do any of the other commissioners have questions for 3C through 3E?
Commissioner Shields, I'm going to kick myself out, but Laura came as a victim, and it was hard for her to come here. I don't care. I'll get kicked out. That's okay. I will leave. You couldn't have been more heartless and cold to victims that needed help. And it's a shame that, you see, and this is what people have been talking about. The inhumanity and the coldness. She is a victim, and she said, I have PTSD. I don't care. That was so wrong of you. You owe her an apology, and you need to do better. That you were a prosecutor for 20 years. She said, I had PTSD, and I'm having an incident right now because this is hard for me.
You've been warned.
I don't care. Warn me, kick me out. That's fine. I don't care. That was disgusting display that was disgusting. I am going to leave. Do better. That was disgusting.
Okay, do any,
And we don't need you representing us out in the valley.
3C through 3G?
Disgusting. Shame on you. Shame on you, Commissioner Shields. It was her. Well, you know, I'm still going to do the comments for those two officers because I stand by my word, but I'm so pissed right now. Whew, I had to do that.